Hello my beautiful friends, I am so excited today to bring you a book haul. So I recently went to Ashland, Oregon for the Mystery Fest and they had so many beautiful independent bookstores and used bookstores up there. I went a little crazy. I'm going to show you what I got. So there is definitely a focus on cozy mysteries because that's what the festival is about, but I do have some general mysteries and thrillers, so feel free to jump around the chapters depending on what you enjoy. So one of the first books I got was Earl Grey Tea by Gretchen Rue. This is the fourth in the Witch's Brew mystery and this has one of the best covers. Look at this cover. Oh, and I was lucky to get it signed by the author and she signed it with a paw print from Bob, who is the orange cat here on the cover. So the basic premise for this series is Phoebe is a witch. She inherits this bookshop, tea shop from her aunt, who was also a witch, and she learns about her powers quite late in life and she's kind of stumbling around. She sometimes has like enchanted tea blends. She also has this kind of interesting probability power, which is quite unique. And in this one, Halloween is coming to town. There's a lot of Halloween events. The locals are going to do some Agatha Christie plays, and this actress comes into town with none other than Phoebe's cheating ex-husband, which starts some drama, I'm sure. I'm very excited for this. I love Bob. I've been really steadily going through the series. I'm actually reading book 3 right now in hopes to get to this book before Halloween. So I'm very excited. I also was really fortunate to receive a copy of this from the author. This is No Time to Die by Annie McEwen. It's a Northwoods mystery, book 3 in the series. Look at the cover. Oh my goodness. I love the covers for the series so much. And I actually read this on the way back because I was so excited. So basically we have Emmy Cooper. Her and her family run this Northwoods, like kind of a lakeside cabin cottages, described as a lake cottage resort. There we go. So Emmy's former boss, when she was an interior designer in the big city, who fired her quite dramatically, shows up with some of her old work friends and things in crew and ends up passing away on the premises, and of course it's a murder. So this had all the winter vibes. I absolutely loved. I feel like this author, the setting that she develops is beautiful. I mean, not only are the Northwoods a gorgeous setting, the lakeside cottages, of course, that's a very beautiful setting, but the way she describes everything and brings it to life on paper, it's gorgeous. I love it. And Emmy and her family will give you all the warm feels. I absolutely love them. I think they are just, like, I want to hug all of them. There's also some very cute dog moments, of course, and we do get a little cat friend in this one, which is very lovely. But I loved the snowy, wintry vibes. This is the perfect, like, winter cozy mystery. I loved this so much. Oh, this was actually a book that was kindly sent to me by a publisher. I got it on my, like, when I came home, which was just so exciting. And this is one of the book series that made my all-time favorite cozy mystery recommendations video that I did recently. I'll link it above. This is called At Death's Door by Mindy Quigley. This is the deep dish mystery. And it's coming out, I think, later this year, but this is a Valentine's Day cozy mystery. I am so excited. And this features one of my all-time favorite cozy mystery companions, Butterball. Our main character is Delilah and she runs this deep dish pizzeria. It takes place in this really fascinating town, which is Geneva Bay, Wisconsin, and it has like a lot of mob history, which is sometimes incorporated into the stories, which I find really fascinating. Anytime a cozy mystery author incorporates like history, I'm all over that. I'm a bit of a history nerd. So I absolutely love that personally. But Delilah is really great. I love her crew of characters. I think like her sous chef Sonia is an amazing character. She's probably my favorite side character in this besides Butterball, obviously besides Butterball. And this is a Valentine's Day cozy and I'm really excited because she's excited to be spending her first Valentine's Day with her boyfriend, but then a like century-old cold case gets opened up. Like I said, I love a cold case. I love a history, like heavy mystery, so I am so excited for this. And the fact that there's Butterball, I do need to listen to the book before this on audio really quick before I get into this, but I am so excited. So thank you to the publisher for sending this to me because I'm beyond excited. Then I picked up the Zen Goat mystery series by Jana Rollins, aka Paula Charles. She also writes the Hometown Hardware mystery series, which I need to read the newest, the Zappy Little Christmas one, but I am otherwise caught up on, and I love that series. Like, I think the Ask Me No Questions, that's one of my favorite autumn reads this year. I love it so much. Anyways, she also writes a Zen Goat mystery series under a different name. This is the first one. It's called An Escape Goat and Goats Just Want to Have Fun. I picked up both because before going to Ashland, I looked up at my library and was like, okay, which of these books by these authors are going to be at the event? does my library not have? And they did not have this series, and I was like, okay, I was gonna make a priority to try to find it. I am so excited. There's like a goat farm and goat yoga. I'm ready for this. I'm so ready for this. This sounds like such a charming premise. Our main character is Callie, and she finds some long lost family through like a DNA test. So she goes off to the small town of Bob White Hollow, New Hampshire to meet a great uncle she had no idea she had. She ends up falling in love with the town, and she opens a goat yoga studio and retreat. I have so many questions. I can't wait to get answered, and I want like a goat yoga studio and retreat. How cool is that? Anyways, she's there, someone dies, and her goat actually ends up getting sick with something that I think they got into that maybe that person was eating. So she suspects that it wasn't an accident or like a natural death and gets into the mystery investigation. Book 2 is a summer cozy featuring a county fair, which I'm so excited for. I love the goat. There's pigs racing. Is this a real thing? I have never gone to a county fair where they had pigs racing. Is that a real thing? I don't know, but I want to find, I'm going to be Googling that now. Anyways, I'm very, very excited. And like I said, I love her writing under Paula Charles, so I can't wait to dive into the series. It's been on my mind to get into for a while. I got Bait and Swiss by Karina Moss. This is the latest in the Cheese Shop mystery series, which I'm otherwise caught up in and adore. It's one of my favorite foodie cozies, and I am so excited to finally read this. So Willa is our main character in this. She is a cheesemonger. She runs a shop called Curds and Whey. It's a French-inspired cheese shop in Sonoma Valley. If you love cheese, get on this. I love the description so much. Willa and Team Cheese are amazing. I absolutely love them. But she has a chocolate aversion. She didn't always have one though, and the reason for her chocolate aversion unfortunately moves into town, which is her ex-fiance and her ex-best friend, who are the reason for her chocolate aversion. They open a chocolate shop, and I think someone dies, and her ex-fiance actually has the gall to ask Willa for help, but Willa is a curious cat and she can't wait to dig into it. So I am so excited. Team Cheese is honestly just one of my favorite little like cozy crews and cozy mysteries, so I'm so excited to get into this book. So excited. I also picked up my very first Aaron Scott mystery series, which I am very excited for. So I'm planning on listening to the Whiskers and Words on audio because it looks like there's some good deals for audiobooks with that. But one of her other series is the Murder at the Morrissey Mystery, which is supposed to be kind of like Only Murders in the Building kind of vibes. And this is book 1. It's called The Body in 3B. I love the covers for these. They are so fun. And I feel like this is an extra good pick for fall because there are some ghosts in the building. Sounds like it's kind of just like a quirky fun thing. I don't think it's like super spooky, but our main character in this is Meg, and this takes place in downtown Seattle, and she ends up moving back to this quirky building, which is filled with residents, both living and not, both and all very eccentric, it sounds like. She ends up quitting her career as an artist, which I'm really curious about, moving back to the building, and she ends up making a best friend who I think is a ghost, and she finds a murdered resident. So this building is not the safe haven she was hoping for. I am so excited for this. I've heard so many good things about this series in particular, but the Whiskers and Words, a lot of Aaron Scott's series. Cannot wait to really dive into her books properly. She was such a sweet person. Honest, I mean, all the authors, all of them were truly just the best. I don't have a bad word to say about any of them. They were all so kind, but Aaron Scott was just such a sweetheart, and I'm very excited. It looks so fun, and I absolutely love like an eccentric building vibe. Like I love Nosy Neighbors by Freya Sampson, which kind of involves like a tall eccentric building with lots of different residents that kind of have to come together after someone is hurt in their building. So I'm very excited for this kind of setting. Then I picked up Wined and Died in New Orleans, a vintage cookbook mystery by Ellen Byron, who is one of my favorite authors who was there for sure, at least one of the ones I've read the most from. I love her Golden Motel mysteries, her Cajun country mysteries. I need to dive more into the catering hall ones, which I've enjoyed so far, but this is the only series I have not started, and that feels like a crime. This is the second book in the series. The covers for these are just darling. Our main character in this is Ricky, and she works at this museum, but she runs this like vintage cookbook and like cookware shop, which I am very excited to learn more about vintage cookbooks. It is hurricane season, it is fall in New Orleans, and unfortunately a body is found among the fall decorations. And that kicks off our mystery. I am so excited to dive into this properly. beyond excited. I cannot believe I haven't read the first book. Truly, shame on me. Next, I picked up Deadly Drafts by Courtney Bradley. This is the first in her Literary Stitches mystery. I recently read her debut and did really enjoy it, but I'm especially excited for the premise of this because it's bookish and it's a winter cozy, which there's just something about wintry cozies. This is supposed to be bookish and crafty. There's like a book and crafting club, I think. Our main character in this is Addie, and she is pretty heartbroken. She moves back to the small town in Oklahoma. She's had her heart broken, and unfortunately Addie's former best friend and worst enemy shows up dead right before her wedding, and Addie and I think her sister are prime suspects. I am so excited for this. This cat is adorable. This cover, the more I look, the detail on this cover, it's gorgeous. I'm so excited to read this winter. I'll definitely probably be saving this for like a winter reading vlog because it's darling. At a used bookstore, I found Murder in a Cup by Lauren Elliott. This is a series I've really wanted to start for a while. It's the Crystals and Curiosities mystery. I do think there's a little bit of a supernatural element, but I love anything with a tea vibe. This is book 2 in the series, so I need to get a hold of book 1. Maybe I'll listen to it on audio. We will find out. So our main character in this is Shay, and she is a self-taught seer. She also has a penchant and like a talent with plants. So she has a tea shop that she runs. This takes place in California, and she's I think by the coast. And she ends up meeting this man who's from Ireland, the psychic I should say, from Ireland. He's good at interpreting tea leaves. He kind of encourages her to lean into her own abilities, but something goes awry during this first reading. And I'm really excited for this. The covers are really cute, and you guys know me. I love like a tea shop cozy, so this one really just caught my attention every time I kept talking about it. During new cozy mystery release videos, I was like, I need to get the series. So we got that. And I did give you guys a preview of this in my vlog, but I picked up a bunch of Ellie Alexander, and almost all these were used, which was incredible because I got them for like half price. So I'm not going to go through each of the plots, but I picked up 3 from her Sloan Cross mysteries, which my library does not have much of. They have most of the bake shop mysteries, but these are the 3. I have Beer and Loathing, Without a Brew, and The Cure for What Ails You, which I love the title for that. Quick overview of the series. Our main character is Sloan Cross. This takes place in Leavenworth, Washington, which is a Bavarian village-themed small town. Love it. In the first book, she's working at this brewery with her husband's family. It's a really big brewery in town, and she walks in on her husband cheating on her. So she storms out. She's gonna get a divorce. She does have a son in this. I really like the relationship, and she ends up starting to work at this small microbrewery in town. And even as someone who doesn't drink, I do find the process behind it, like the description, is very interesting. There's also some delicious bar food, which I'm all about. So I really have enjoyed the mysteries. I feel like it took me, I liked book 1, but book 2 is where I just fell like head over heels for the series, and I'm so excited to continue it because like I said, my library doesn't have many in this series, so I'm excited to properly dive into this. This one is a springy cozy, which looks so gorgeous. I don't know what order these are in. I need to look that up. Oh, is this a Christmas one? There are Christmas decorations on this, and there's a winter one. Okay, I need to figure out the order for these because I'm hoping these will be the next ones I need to get to, because winter and Christmas, that would be amazing. But I'm very excited. I did get Ellie Alexander to sign all of them, which she kindly signed all of them. I did pick this book up new, which is A Murder on the Mountain by Ellie Alexander. This is her Meg Reed Investigates series, which is newly published under... The book stack just fell over, sorry. I'm so excited right now. This was newly republished under Ellie Alexander. It was previously published under her different pen name. But this involves an adventure magazine writer who is not very adventurous, but actually has to go out and do some of the adventurous things, which sounds hilarious, and I can relate to that. Like, that would be me. That would absolutely be me. But this one does take place in Oregon, and Meg is doing some kind of like river summit with like, I think, canoe racing, and someone dies there when she's covering the story and she gets involved. I'm so excited to explore this. The covers on this, gorgeous. And then I did pick up Laying Down the Latte by Ellie Alexander, which is the next bake shop mystery that my library doesn't have. I think they have a smoking bun, which I need to read, but this would be the one after. And this one takes place where actually Jules and part of her team at Tort go down to Costa Rica because Carlos has a contact there who's in the coffee industry. They take Andy, who is a big coffee lover and like experimenter at Tort, and so it's kind of a vacation cozy, which I'm very much looking forward to. I want to read a smoking bun in the next month or so because it's a winter cozy, and then save this for spring or summer because the Costa Rica setting I'm sure is gorgeous. I cannot wait. Unfortunately, Jules and her team do not get a break from murder even though they're on their vacation, so that is a little unfortunate for them, but otherwise good. And then from the library I picked up Blame the Beignets by Ginger Bolton. This is the next for me in the Deputy Donut mystery series, which I adore. So despite the cheery cover, this is actually an October cozy. I think there is some kind of baby shower based on the cover here, but our main character is Emily Westhill and she owns Deputy Donut. Her cat is actually named Deputy Donut. It's named after her cat, which I love. She runs it with her father-in-law, who their family, her husband actually passes away before the series starts, and that's actually why she left her job as a 911 operator. There's a lot of great backstory. I would really recommend reading this series in order, and in this one she has one of her employees' younger sisters come to help at the shop. She's excited for the help, but the sister has some admirers who keep coming in the shop and fighting, and somehow this leads to a murder and Emily gets involved. I love this. If you like a foodie cozy, if you like a cat heavy cozy, this one is really good. And this one has such great subplots that develop with the characters. So like I said, really read this one in order. I really love this series. Diving into a couple of like general mysteries, I did pick up The Hound of the Baskervilles by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Found this at a used bookstore. I do technically own this in a Sherlock Holmes collection, but I loved this old cover so much and it was like 75 cents, so I grabbed it. I just love the cover of this so much, so I'm excited to read this. I really don't know much about this other than it's one of Sherlock Holmes' most like favorite mysteries that I've heard so much about. I'm really excited to dive into this. It's supposed to be a very eerie setting on this like Baskerville estate, so I'm really excited for this. Then I picked up Death and the Conjurer by Tom Mead. This is part of the Joseph Spector Locked Room Mystery series. I have read one book in the series. I've been reading them out of order and I really loved it. It had such a good reveal. It was super intense. What was it called? Oh, it was Cabaret Macabre was the one I read. So this one came out later than this one, but I'm so excited to dive into this. This is just a really solid mystery series. I wouldn't say they're super graphic, but they're also not cozy, but it's just a fascinating read. This takes place in 1930s London, and our main character is Joseph Spector, and he is a part-time sleuth and retired magician, which is how he is so good at figuring out these really puzzling locked room mysteries that the police can't solve. So I'm really excited to dive into another book by this author. They are so well written, very much give you kind of like golden age mystery vibes, which I like. Then I was very kindly sent The Book of Autumn by Molly O'Sullivan. This is on sale on the 28th of this month, so it might already be out by the time you're seeing this. But this is a debut about ambition, second chances, and ancient magic set in an enchanted university where there's a formidable pair of magicians. And there's some kind of curse plaguing the student body. So this one's definitely a little bit outside my normal reading, but I wanted to show it because look at this, like look at this cover. Absolutely so gorgeous. I do occasionally like a fantasy, especially if it's a little cozier or more lighthearted, not like a I don't want a fantasy where I have to like commit to like 3 books that are 800 pages a piece that's like intense world building. I like a little more of like I can dive into a fantasy like mystery or like a cozy fantasy. Those are kind of my fantasy. That's kind of where I'm at with fantasy when I occasionally read it, and this just looks so interesting. I don't know. I'm very curious about this one. I'm hoping I can get to it in November because it is very autumnal. Clearly. All right, diving into thrillers. I picked up a couple used, and then I also have a couple from my library. I picked up Gone Tonight by Sarah Pekina. I have been loving her writing. Basically, this involves Ruth Sterling. As a teenager, she was pregnant and she escaped from a very bad situation. She was able to escape and make a life for herself and her daughter, Catherine. And all these years, she's been able to protect Catherine. But Catherine is now graduating nursing school and wanting to strike out on her own. And Ruth is terrified that she's going to find out like maybe some past secrets, maybe the past will catch up with her. I don't know. She's trying to protect Catherine from something. And I'm very excited for this. I do love a good like mother-daughter or like 2 strong female characters kind of like duo like relationship. I'm not sure if this, let's see. It looks like you get to read from both mother and daughter perspectives, so I'm very excited for this. And if this is anything like her other writing, I'm sure I'm gonna love it. This one was just one I picked up. I don't think I've read anything by this author. It's by Alison Brennan. It's called 7 Girls Gone, a Quinn and Costa thriller. and this is described as like a crime thriller. I'm really excited for this. This looks like a really good like summer, spring read. This has so many tropes that I love. We're talking small town drama in the bayou in Louisiana. Basically for 3 years, women have been disappearing and showing up dead in this small town of St. Augustine. They are basically just found there, and the detective police officer near there seems to be the only one who cares. Like everyone kind of brushes it off. Nothing is being moved forward with the case, so he calls in these FBI agents to help him. But this small town is not willing to reveal its secrets. I absolutely adore like a small town tense setting like this, and the bayou setting. I'm so excited for this. If you've heard anything about this, let me know, because I hadn't personally heard anything about this author or book, but I'm really excited for it. And the last one I bought used was Every Last Secret by A.R. Torre, and one, the cover and description got me for this, but it also is endorsed by Taryn Fisher, who I like. It says all she wants is the good life. Right now it belongs to someone else, but not for long. I'm so excited. So it sounds like a thriller about obsession and jealousy. We have 2 primary women in this book. Sounds like they're both quite wealthy in a very nice neighborhood. We have our main character, Kat, who has this very successful life. She's a beautiful wife. She's got her husband, and someone moves in across the street, and although she's a little cautious, maybe she has a past, I don't know, she greets them. And this woman is named Nina, and she is a life coach. She's not a lady of leisure. Her husband hasn't arrived yet, it sounds like, and she starts to become fixated with Kat's husband, William. And she also gets into a friendship with Kat herself, and there seems to be some obsession and jealousy that's building. And I'm thinking maybe Nina wants her life, or maybe Kat wants hers. I don't know, but I'm really curious. This type of thriller, the psychological thriller like this, really gets me, and I'm very curious. Then I picked up a couple from my library, which I'm super excited for. So I really loved Do What Godmother Says by Ella Stratton, and I realized as I was raving about it in a recent video, I haven't picked up any other books by this author. So I picked up one of her older books, Not So Perfect Strangers, which sounds incredible. So this is described as a masterful domestic thriller. Our main character is Tasha, and she's escaping from an abusive relationship. She takes her teenage son with her, and they are fleeing in the car, but she for some reason has to turn around. She unfortunately finds herself turning around to return back to the relationship when this woman runs up to her car and is like banging on the window, begging her to let her in, and it seems like a man might be chasing her. So Tasha makes a split-second decision, lets the woman in, they drive off together, and it turns out that although they have very different lives, they both have something in common, which is that their marriages are very toxic and they both need to get out of them. So I think somehow they might help each other. I'm really curious. I love the premise of this, and I'm hoping they're both successful. With a very different vibe, I also picked up her newest release, which is In Deadly Company, and this just looks really interesting. Our main character in this is Nicole, and she's the assistant to this like CEO of like a Fortune 500 company. She's tasked with throwing this like impossible birthday party, and while she's there, things go wrong. Someone is murdered, and she and a group of other people are suspects. Nicole is still a suspect a year later, and so she tries to go on the public record with this documentary that's being made to clear her name, but then things are starting to get twisted as well with that. This is described as a really twisty murder mystery and a heart-pounding thriller, and I am ready for this. I don't know why it took me so long to pick up more by this author, but I'm really excited. And then last but not least, I picked up Wonderland by Jennifer Hillier. Now, I'm going to warn you guys, the Jennifer Hilliers I've read have been brutal, especially Jar of Hearts. My favorite has been The Butcher, I would say. I also liked Little Secrets, but this is one I've had recommended to me a lot. I feel like Jennifer Hillier does really interesting crime thrillers. They still have a really good personal, like, psychological element to them, but there's oftentimes kind of big crimes taking place, and this one sounds like it is about the same. So Wonderland is this amusement park. It's very magical. There's all these amazing things, but behind the scenes, it's not great. Things are breaking down. The clown white wax figures may not actually be wax. So creepy. And on the first day of her job, Vanessa, who is now the deputy of police in Seattle, Washington, is having a rough day. There's an unidentified man who's found in a tourist attraction, and then a missing teenage employee, I think, at this amusement park, and she is tasked with finding this. And if you know Jennifer Hillier's writing, she does twists and turns and just emotion, like raw emotion, so well in her writing. I can't wait. I know it's going to be a dark read, so I need to like prep myself a little bit, but every time I read her books, I'm always astounded. Anyways, guys, that is everything for me today. I hope you enjoyed this book haul. I am just so grateful that I was able to go to Ashland. I had the most wonderful time. It was just like a big like an absolute huge highlight of the year. So incredible. All the people and authors. So grateful for the opportunity to go and to check out all these local independent bookstores and used bookstores. I was kind of in heaven. I was in heaven, truly. And then to come back, I had some great books from the library. So thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this haul. If you enjoy mystery content, I hope you'll hit subscribe. I talk about mystery books ranging from cozy mysteries, murder mysteries, and thrillers every week on my channel. My name is Amy Marie, and I also do cozy reading vlogs. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!